Hey y'all, Mary Kennedy here from Kennedy Fan 5. This is going to sound super pre-COVID. The way that we taught perimeter and area after dilation was like an investigative or discovery type of activity, but it was also very low tech, but it's something that could super simply be converted to high tech. And I mean low tech as in giving all the kids index cards. And so they would have an index card that had an area and a scale factor. The areas were different on purpose. They had just a blank, graphing paper, and the kids had to come up with a rectangle that they could graph that had that area. And the requirements were that it had to fit onto the graph before and after transformation. So they had to do some planning. We had them also find the perimeter. Once they had chosen their rectangle pre-image, we had them find the perimeter of that as well. And then we had them do the dilations in the way that they had been taught the previous day, just to multiply each coordinate point by the scale factor. And so they did that, got their dilation, plotted those points, and then they found the new perimeter, the perimeter prime, and the new area, or the area prime. And then their challenge was to see if they could find a connection of how the perimeter changed to the perimeter prime and how the area changed to the area prime. And it was one of those really great days in the classroom when I'm just walking around and listening to really good math conversation. And then I would create a chart on the board. They would fill in like their answers. And it was really interesting for them to go, to see that something that they thought might be working. Oh, but that didn't work when it was a fraction, or that didn't work in that group, but it worked in my group, kind of thing. And so anyway, they were able to sort of discover the formulas that you use to go directly from perimeter to perimeter prime and area to area prime. Super simple, and yet it was really accessible. A lot of kids were able to see that connection, and I thought it was a really cool thing. So this is a little assessment that is, something that our kids would do maybe as a ticket out the door, or maybe, as part of their test review, something like that. Here is a question that's a lot more challenging, and I really like it. It's just good little reasoning problems. One thing about this that I always found fascinating was we would do that activity that I talked about at the beginning with the rectangles, and then on the back we had another blank graph, and we would say, okay, this process worked for every group for a rectangle. What do you think about a circle? Invariably, every class, all the kids, it was rare to have a kid that was like, yeah, I think it's going to be the same. They always thought it was going to be different. And so I think it was helpful because it really stood out in their mind when when we went through and actually graphed a circle, pre-image and image, and looked at all the information. And they were like, oh, it worked. And it was just super surprising. And so I just loved that. Anyway, here it is with a circle. Choose 2 answers again, making sure that they see that. And I've got the little upload your work button. And then just so you know, if you're like, I don't have time to make it myself, well, you're welcome to purchase mine. I hope that it would be super helpful to you if you did decide to do that. And then I do have the bundle, which is the whole unit, so that it just kind of takes that off your plate if that's something that interests you. I hope this was helpful.